stick your fingers in like this, and then place your thumb on top like so, that will increase the pleasure.
Maybe I should try this. This is the all-new 2024 Mercedes GLC43 AMG. They have updated the interior, the exterior, and there's a new engine for this year. Meanwhile, on this side, we have the Genesis GV70, which also gets a facelift for 2025. You've got a slightly better interior. The model that we have for this video doesn't have that facelift, but we did review the GV80, which has similar interior to the GV70. Having said that, the question that I want to answer today is, why is the Mercedes GLC43 almost 30 grand more than this? In Canada, the base GV70 3.5T starts at about $74,500. Meanwhile, the top trim, which has the electronic limited slip differential, cost about $80,000 Canadian. In the US, the base starts at about $58,000 and the top trim about $70,000 USD. Meanwhile, the GLC43 AMG for 2024-2025 model, in Canada, the base model starts at about $80,000 Canadian, can go up to $105,000 Canadian. In the US, the base model GLC43, this is the SUV, not coupe, starts at $64,000. It can go up to $85,000 USD. Now keep in mind that the GV70 3.5T is not the 2026 model, which will receive a facelift on the inside and outside, very similar to the GV80. So the pricing may be a little bit different for next year. But the GLC also has a coupe version, which the GV70 doesn't have one, and that is of course a bit more expensive compared to the SUV, which is the one that we have for today's video. Now let's talk about exterior design, and let's start first with the Mercedes GLC43. The 43 looks like it's having an identity crisis. Why? It doesn't know whether it wants to be a luxury SUV or a muscle car, so the designers went with both. It also has a massive grille at the front, which looks like it's about to inhale every single small car on the road. And then we have the back side, which this one comes with the quad exhaust system. In fact, these are fake. It looks like the car is trying to compensate for something. And then you have the side profile, where it looks like the car is pretending to be sporty and sleek and luxurious at the same time. It's so beefed up as a design that makes you think this is the fastest SUV out there. In fact, it's just a standard family SUV. They also made sure to add these side steps because the car has such a huge ground clearance that most owners are going to have a hard time to get into the car. Oh no! Oh my God! This is so high off the ground! I'm trying to get in! Oh my God! Thank God for this side step! And then we have the Genesis GV70, which kind of looks like the designers picked every single car design trend out there and then just crammed it into this one. We have an oversized grille that looks like it's going to swallow the road and the cars. In fact, this is bigger than the one in the Mercedes. And then we have the headlights, which look like they're squinting while looking at the Mercedes. Figure out, why is that thing more expensive? Moving on to the rear end for the Genesis, this is also the same situation. They picked every car design trend and they just put it right at the back. It looks like they had this philosophy of more is more. It's kind of like walking into a restaurant, picking up the menu and going, I need everything in here. The Genesis doesn't have an identity crisis. In fact, it knows exactly what it wants to be. It wants to be everything. Sporty SUV, a luxurious SUV, a fast SUV, a family SUV. That's the Genesis. Another reason why the Mercedes is a bit more expensive is because it gives you a bit more cargo space in comparison to the Genesis. It's not a huge difference. But you also get these power buttons located on each side if you wanted to fold the seats automatically from the back, and you have the buttons on the right and the left side. Second row. Well, it's actually not bad here. There's enough space for me. I'm 6'2". Nice and comfortable. But what I don't like about this is this ugly interior. Whoever picked this color must be 80 years old, because a young person wouldn't choose this two-tone. Ugh, so ugly. But you know what's even more disappointing in this car? The fact that for $107,000 Canadian, you don't get a climate unit in the back. There's also no USB ports. There's no heated seats in the back. That's a bit disappointing. Oh, but they gave us a panoramic roof with this package, which is nice. Where are you supposed to charge your phone? Okay. What about cup holders? Oh, that's how. Okay, so you go all the way in once for this, and then just a bit tapping, and the cup holders come in. Why am I shocked? I've seen that before. Into the Genesis. This is actually a little bit more spacious overall. Feels like a little bit more roomy than the Mercedes. I've sat a seat in the front as if I was a driver. Did the same thing for the Mercedes. In here, you get a lot of tech features for the money, because you're only paying about $80,000 Canadian for this, which again, it's very good price. Climate units, we've got heated seats in the back. There's 2 USB ports. There's also a plug, 110 volts, I believe. You can connect your laptop, you can charge your phone, anything like that that can support that kind of voltage. You also get sunshades in the side with this package. The interior, it's quite interesting. It seems like someone that worked previously as a teacher or professor picked this, because it's very bluey, I don't get this color. This is weird too. Both cars have ugly interiors in terms of this color. There's a panoramic roof here too though, which is nice. But tech-wise, this thing offers a lot more than the Mercedes. The front row of the Mercedes, it's quite interesting. It kind of looks like a nightclub, but inside a luxury SUV. The flashy finish, the massive screens, the lights as well, literally like a nightclub. You can change the ambient light. There's lights everywhere in this area. And then you have the steering wheel, which makes you think like you're driving a race car, but you're not. And then we have screens, massive screen here, another screen over there. But having said that, here's one thing that I think very brilliant in terms of designing this area is the screen. See, where I'm sitting right now, the screen is tilted just slightly to give me the best visibility. But then when you go in the middle, it still looks like it's positioned towards the person who's looking in the center. And then if you're on the passenger side, it's very much the same. And if you suffer from OCD, this car is actually perfect for you. Not that it's a bad thing, but the screen is positioned so well with the fans at the top that the entire design changes only here. The way they've shaped this thing, it's, in my opinion, really amazing, because it doesn't annoy you. Some cars will have it in a position where the driver looks at it a bit more than the passenger, but this one is, well, almost perfectly positioned in my opinion.
Good afternoon, Mercedes-Benz.
That's very kind of you. Thank you, Mercedes.
My pleasure.
Oh, she's so nice. Now, let me do my talking.
Sorry, something went wrong.
I have to speak. Please turn off. Steering wheel. I love this suede or Alcantara, wherever you want to call it. But with time, this will look like a dead animal fur kind of thing. It just gets really ugly, so you have to replace it. I love the pedal shifters. I love these scroll buttons over here, which again are fantastic for a race car, which this is not. But I do appreciate that they're there for easy access. You can change a lot of settings here, your sport mode, sport plus, and that 4-cylinder, it's going to scream. And then on this side, you can change the manual transmission. You can open up the exhaust valves. You can change each settings which is brilliant. And then we've got the butterfly design steering wheel. You can control the infotainment display from here. Very nice. And then we've got a digital cluster, which you can change the layout for different modes. So we've got into sport mode, super sport, or track pace. I'm going to put in sport mode. Why people put this in classic is beyond me. And then you can also change the actual heads-up display. I have it in race mode where it shows the RPM. Really nice. And it also has a track package heads-up display in case if you wanted to take it to the track, which most people will not. Then we have this massive screen in the center, which is only touch screen plus the haptic button located on the steering wheel. Lots of options. You have off-road. Not sure who's going to take this off-road with these tires, performance tires, but let's just say that they will have to upgrade to that. And then we've got the performance pages, which gives you a lot of information, as you can see right here. Then you have the engine. And then you have IWC. Now, if you don't know what IWC stands for, is actually a watch company. And they partner with Mercedes, especially in Formula 1. You've seen Lewis Hamilton having one of these bad boys. And then you can change. It's like a stopwatch. Look at that. I love this. Is cool. I gotta say, this is actually cool. Like, doesn't matter how expensive it is, but this is cool. I like that. And then we got the fuel consumption, which is quite nice. And then if you go back, there's also track pace. So if you want to take this around the track, it will pick up a track that you go to. There's also drag race, which is going to make it very easy for me. And here you go. And then you have the telemetry, which shows you brake pedal and so on. So you get a lot of these options with the AMG package. Probably this is why you're paying a lot more. The Genesis looks like it was designed by someone that thought that luxury meant throwing screens, buttons. In this case, it's what they did in here. And this car is trying so hard to impress you, to make you think that you're driving a luxury vehicle with all these shiny parts, and it's just, there's too much hard working in here. I don't need the car to tell me that I'm driving a luxury car because I know that. But I will admit, they have matched some of those design features of this car with different parts. Like, for example, the sensor unit kind of matches with the design of the steering wheel. Keep in mind that this is not the 25 model because that's going to have a different design. They're going to have a curved display like the one in the Genesis GV80 in that case. The steering wheel is going to be different. I appreciate that this steering wheel did not come the same way as the one in the previous GV80. That ugly space shuttle looking banana style, it was super ugly. This one is so much better. You've got actual buttons, not haptic or touch. These are prop buttons. Again, the steering wheel for 25 is going to be different than this. It is powered similar to the Mercedes. You can adjust the height and so on. And then we have a digital cluster, which you can change the actual display with different modes. And then if you go into, for example, sport mode, it's different. It's kind of like a 3D. It's very, very different. And then you got Sport Plus, and then you got Custom. You can change all that right with the driving modes. And there's different terrains. Again, nobody's going to take this thing off-road, but let's just say you decide to run away from someone. Maybe you need that. The infotainment for 2024 is going to be different to the 2025, and because it's going to be one screen altogether. But this one, it's quite nice. It is also touchscreen, and you can use the control unit in the center so you don't leave any fingerprints. Easy to use, very fast. The built-in GPS in this car, it's a bit annoying the way it works. Like when you want to move, like I hate that when it does like the pinpoint. I don't want you to do that. I'm just looking at that road. That's one annoying thing about this car. The Mercedes GLC43 AMG uses a 2-liter inline-4 turbocharged engine with a 48-volt hybrid system, which produces 416 brake horsepower and 369 pound-foot of torque. Uses a 9-speed speed shift MCT by AMG, and it has a curb weight of 4,498 pounds. The GV70 under the hood uses a 3.5-liter V6 twin turbocharged. It is equipped with an 8-speed automatic transmission. It is all-wheel drive, and it makes 375 brake horsepower and 391 pound-feet of torque with a curb weight of 4,584 pounds. And at this point, you're probably wondering, well, let's say that the GV70 is going to lose. Well, there's only one way to find out, and that's what we're going to do next. Let's roll. Okay, sir, I've got mine Sport Plus all the way. Transmission, everything in Sport Plus Pro, it says here. It's got a Pro version of this, like a Apple iPhone kind of thing. Like we've got a Pro Max, a standard one. This one has got a Pro one, so I can put a Sport Plus, and I am a pro at this, boy. I am ready. Are you ready, sir?
Yep, this Samsung, Genesis GV70 is in Sport Plus. We're ready to go.
Okay, this is going to be interesting. I think I might win, but I don't know. Okay, here we go. Hold all the way. Okay. Throttle, launch control active. Bad shift. Come on, Mercedes. That was ugly, but I am gone, baby. What is that, a 6 cars? Wow, this thing is actually fast once it goes. For a 4-cylinder and this heavy? Now, how do these things drive? Well, let's start first with the Genesis. One thing I find with the Genesis is that it is so much more tuned for daily than performance. Like, even the tires on this car are not quite the best in comparison to the one in the Mercedes. Like, over here, it's like not really hooking well. You put your foot down, but the transmission is just not as fast. And when you go around the corner, you just go, oh, this is not good. I'm going way too fast because these tires are not meant for track, and it doesn't have any other option. These are just, they don't even hook. You put your foot down into the corner and you go, oh, is it gonna slide? Is it gonna hook? Nope, I'm going towards the ditch. No, I'm good. Okay, here we go. You put your foot down. Man, it held that gear pretty nicely. You can also do manual shift right now into second gear. There we go. Into second, going around the corner. Oh, come on, come on, come on. Second gear. And it actually shifts for you because it doesn't allow you manual shifting. Oh, it feels so heavy. There's also barely any exhaust sound. It sounds from the engine, but not from the exhaust. It's very relaxed car. It's meant for day to day with some power for you to overtake cars on the road, but it's not meant for full track or any of that. You could make this thing into a track car if you wanted. You'd have to upgrade the tires. You'd have to upgrade the suspension, tune the transmission, and even the brakes are not quite as touchy as you want them around the track. The steering is not as direct. It's also very heavy to turn, and just not a good track car, or actually not a good sports SUV for that matter. I go around the corner and like, okay, am I sliding? No, it's holding it nicely. I'm not going that fast because I know that if I go way too fast, I'm gonna end up in the grass and damage the car and damage myself. Having said that, what this car is good for is for this. You put it into comfort mode and then you just chill. That's it. I do love the fact that this has those cameras when you turn that shows you each side. That for me is a brilliant tech feature. Also, this part of here on the seat. So if someone is jumping in the front and the seat is not positioned well, or in the back, you can fix that. In comfort mode, you're just chilling. It's enjoyable, nothing too crazy. Exhaust sound is very quiet right now. The suspension system is very soft, very enjoyable. Even around here, going around the corners, turning, pretty good. There we go. That wasn't that bad. That was a sharp corner, and then I'm just going, relaxing, nothing too crazy. It does the job just fine. The Mercedes, on the other hand, it's actually built, not necessarily a race car, but you can have a lot more fun around the track with this. It's got 295s in the back, which is way more than you get with the Genesis, and these are performance tires. And they have built this car for you to take around the track and have some fun with your family. It handles so well. I do hear that engine noise coming through the speakers. Like, I'm not that silly, Mercedes. I can see what you're doing here. And it's so noticeable when you're in Sport Plus as you're racing through the corner. But I don't really mind it because they all have it at this point. But you put your foot down. Oh. It is a different machine compared to that. Even because it has the 4-cylinder under the hood, it's still far better around the corner than that Genesis. Oh, there we go. That engine sounds ridiculous though. 4-cylinder in this car, it's pretty pathetic to be honest. But it pulls hard, that's the crazy part. Like, that's almost 40 kilometers faster than I was going on the Genesis. It's just I didn't have that confidence, and this one I do. And this one though, it just hugs the corners with these tires. It's so quick going around these. Going to put your foot down, the transmission is smooth. There's barely any delay. Oh my god, that was like faster than I ever went with the Genesis. Oh, the brakes are so sticky in this. And this is not even the GLC43 AMG. This is just a 43, and it still handles. I put it into automatic transmission. If you need a daily car with a bit of space, bit of tack, you don't mind the design, and you need to pay less, the Genesis is the way to go. It will be fun around the track, but not a lot of fun, just enough. If you really want something really spicy and you're willing to pay the extra price, the Mercedes is the way to go. And also the brand as well, because the Genesis, some people just have a very bad stereotype for them. I think they're a great brand. They're bringing out some interesting cars. Some are not that very good looking, but that's okay. The Mercedes though, is it worth the extra money? Yes, you get so much more than the Genesis in terms of the performance level, not necessarily the tech side, but the performance level. This thing offers a lot more. Transmission is better, you get better tires, you get more power. Fuel efficiency is another thing. I was able to achieve with the Mercedes about 10 liters per 100 kilometers. Meanwhile, the Genesis, it was about 11 liters per 100 kilometers. We did about 110 kilometers with both vehicles in normal mode, one person on each side, and that's the best that we can get out of these two vehicles. The hybrids in this system works really well, and that's something I really appreciate about this. I really like the Mercedes, but the extra price for a 4-cylinder, yeah, that's a tough one to accept.